Imagination 2. So, instantly, I'm going to have eyes on this track. Obviously, people are going to have eyes on this track because Imagination 1 was one of the best tracks on Devil's Advocate. There was only really one thing wrong with that, and that was the hook at the end being very repetitive. And yeah, people complained about that. And I like it when people actually complain about stuff like that because that's constructive criticism. They don't call it trash. People love that track, but that part at the end, people didn't like. People called it repetitive. So I went into this track knowing that I wasn't going to do that, but I also needed to match the lyricism of the verses in the original Imagination. So, of course, with the first Imagination, it's very happy vibes. Obviously, with Imagination 2, I wanted to do the opposite of that, where I'm letting myself drown in my imagination to stay away from the world, so I can avoid the pain of being alive, really. Look, overthinking everything to the extreme, except when I'm sleeping so nothing can intervene. Submerged in darkness, no longer embracing the bright side of life, don't feel right. But slumbering makes me feel so light, so I don't fight. Let it turn my darkest times into a distant existence. I wanted to exist differently. I wanted to be in a different existence, so I slept a lot during my worst days. Back to that dark place, every night I must face my mind, making up all these scenarios of my fate, thinking of all the worst outcomes, feeling so dumb. What if I took this risk? Would I have the right sum? When will the time exist where I don't have to think so damn glum? That is a reference to my anxiety, where, I something happens or something's about to happen, and I think about, for example, when you want to go to school or college the next day, like, is somebody from your past going to cause an issue for you, or are they going to try and start something with you? You know what I mean. I don't like overthinking that. Or even when you're shopping and you keep checking how much money you got because something in the back of your head is saying, oh, what if you don't have enough money? How embarrassing is that going to be? And, that's just horrible. And you can't think like that, but as much as I say that, it just happens. You can't really fight it. It happens. But you got to learn to ignore it. But look at this. The next part. So I imagine my life to be filled with jubilation, a land of relaxation, living a lie instead of the world that's raging. All the money I could ever want, a wife and a child, that's the shit that rests upon my mind. As I slumber out of consciousness, talking to a girl in the rain, letting my dreams take over so I can avoid the pain. Of course, sometimes you dream about a woman, If it's something you really want, your brain is going to make you dream that. And I dreamed about that. And then, of course, when you wake up and it's a really good dream, you want to reminisce on it, but you can't remember it. And that's why I say, but this woman of my dreams is someone I'll deeply miss every morning when I try my best to reminisce. And then the final verse, which is just a few lines, goes into the next track. It's all fun and games until that alarm blares and tears this bliss apart. Every morning I don't have no motivation. That shit died. Why should I open my eyes? Back in the day at school, I had to get up at sometimes even 5:30, and it was very, very difficult. It was an all out war with myself, with my mind, just to get myself out of bed. Never mind having to eat my breakfast, put my uniform on, and then make my way across the road to the bus stop. It was very, very difficult and a huge issue that I, had to deal with until recently. I'm not even joking. It was happening even last year, and it was a big issue. And I think it's something to do with depression. It's either depression or anxiety, one of the two. Either way, I have to deal with it, and it's pretty difficult.